So far, we have created assemblies using bottom-up approach where all the components were readily available and we just needed to piece them together to create the assembly. Now let's use the top-down approach. And in this case, we are going to use existing components to create new one right inside the assembly. Now here for creating the top-down assembly, I'm also going to use in-context approach where I'll use existing parts and components to create the new one. And these new components or the new features will depend on the existing ones. Now to make this thing clear, let's first go to this one, this first component. Now this component is top panel of a switchboard that we have already created, and right now we are in the part mode. We are not in the assembly mode. Also, this drawing is made in a way so that if we change the length of this panel, the width will change accordingly. And I've added these formulas right inside the sketch. So if you go to sketch, you'll notice that the sketch is made in a particular way. So the length is 100 and the width is 50, but this 50 is added in such a way that if this changes, this remains half of it. Also, this is 25, which is half of width. So this will keep all the holes exactly centered. So if this changes, this value will change as well. So let's say if I change this number to 120 and enter, this will automatically update to 60, which will then update this one as 30. So it's been made like that. Now it's not necessary that you make these components using formula, but I've added these formula just to make it, well, more intelligent. Now I'll press Ctrl Z to go back to the original one and I'll exit out of this sketch, and here we are. Now let's go to the assembly mode. So go to this one and from here select make assembly from part. All right, now just click OK and we have this top panel added here as an assembly component. All right, now let's save this assembly. So I'll click on save. And I'll save it in the same folder. So where we had everything. So we started with switchboard folder and I'm going to save it in the same folder. I'll just call it assembly and click on save. All right. Now, since we are making an in-context part using the top-down approach, I'm going to start with this option here and I'll select new part in the assembly command manager. So I'm going to create a new part right inside this assembly. Now give this part a name. So I'll call it bottom panel. And I'll click on save. All right, so we have the top panel already here and bottom panel is also added. Now we also have this green tick mark right next to cursor, which indicates that we are, well, still looking for a plane on which this bottom panel will be made. So in this case, I'll just select this plane right here. And now it selected that bottom plane and also activated this bottom panel part. So basically we are now editing this bottom panel and all the changes that you're going to make now will show up only inside this bottom panel. All right, so bottom panel is added. Let's click on normal 2. And now let's start using this as a reference to create our new part. So I'll go to convert entity and I'll simply extract all these outer edges. So I'm just going to carefully select all these outer edges. All right, and now click OK. And we have all these edges added. Now, since I've used this outer edge and it is in context with the original part, as you can see, we have this on edge relation added. It means if this part changes, the original one, then this sketch will also change. Though this is the top panel, it will affect the bottom panel as well because of this constraint. All right, now let's add the thickness. So I'll go to feature, extrude, and I'll extrude this sketch, which we just now created. And the height is 10 mm. I'll leave that default height of 10 mm and click OK. Done. All right, now let's create the hole. Now to create the hole, we once again need to extract the edges which are right inside this. So once again, I'll go to sketch and I'll select this plane right here. All right, now the plane is selected. Let's go to convert entity and here I'll just select this edge. But as you can see, it won't let me select that edge very easily. So what I'm going to do here is I'll just make sure the select chain option is not checked. And also I'll ensure that inner loop 1 by 1 is checked. So just select this option and now right click on this inner edge and select this option, select other. Now this will show all the faces, edges and every other thing which is hidden behind your cursor. So this is the face we don't want to select and this is actually the edge which we want to select. So when you hover your cursor over different objects, it will highlight that and then click on the object which you want to select. In this case, this edge. I'll select it and now this will select the entire loop because of this loop option. Click OK and it is now selected and extracted as well. So As it is extracted, we are ready to use this in whole feature. So exit out of this sketch, go to feature and select extruded cut. All right, now since the entire height is 10, I'll just make it 9 unit and I'll press the tab key and click OK. And here we are. So we've got this hole as well. All right, so that's done. Now, another thing that we need to do here is, well, add these holes. So these holes are for a screw and we want the cylindrical grooves right here for these screws. So for that, I'll just select this bottom plane and sketch and go to sketch. Now, once again, I'm going to use these holes as reference for making this feature. So I'll go to circle and right at the center, I'll just make the first circle and the second and the third one and the fourth one. Now in this case, we ended up making this one coincident, or maybe not. No, it is not coincident on this one. So that's totally fine. Now what we are going to do is we'll just add the equal constraint. So I'll select it all and I'll click on make equal. So now they are all equal and let's just orbit it slightly, select the circle and then select this edge or the bottom edge. Any edge is just fine. And then make it co-radial. And now they are all of equal radii. All right, so that's done. Let's repeat it one more time. So I'll go to circle and right at the center, I'll add another one. And I'm going to do the same for all the 4 circles. Now in this case, once again, I'll add the equal constraint. So I'll just make sure all of these 4 are selected and just press and hold Control when selecting these and click on equal. Now add a dimension. So I'll add dimension on any one of these and the dimension will be 2 mm. So there we are. So we have got a diameter of 2 mm for this hole. Exit out of this and now we'll add the height. To add the height, I'll go to feature and extrude. There we are. So it will extrude it like this and the height should be 5 unit. And click OK. All right, so we are done. We have added the height as well. Now we have made all the features. We can exit out of this part. So click here and now we are out of the part mode and we are in the assembly mode. Click on regenerate and here we are. So now we have 2 components in this assembly. The first one is top panel and this one is bottom panel. But now this bottom panel was made using top-down approach where we used existing component to make this new one. Now in a similar way, if you want to add more components, all you need to do is just go to this one, select a new part and then start modeling it exactly using the method I showed here. Also, you can use the same method to maybe model these switches for all of these holes and other things that you want to add. Now, since we made this component using in-context modeling, if we end up changing the top panel, the bottom will automatically adjust. Let me show you how it works. So I'll just go to this top panel right here and I'll just select this edit part feature. Now we are editing the top panel. So let's go to this boss extrude feature and select the sketch here. And as you can see, this length is 100. Let's make it 160, something big. All right. And with that, all the other dimensions of this one should change accordingly. So just click OK and exit out of this. So apparently nothing has changed, but just rebuild this and this will happen. So not only the top part changed, but also the bottom one changed automatically and everything was in context. So everything changed with respect to the top part.